welcome to What the Heel. My name is Maria Sellars, and I am so honored for my guest that I have here today, Mr. Matt Morgan, who actually is my first client.
Yes, this is true. What's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Morgan. I'm a former WWE superstar, a former American Gladiator, a three-time mayor in the city of Longwood, and currently reelected this past November to Longwood City Commission again for another 4 years. Just name a few things.
Just a few of them.
that I've been very blessed to be able to do and still do in my life.
Yeah. It's been amazing. I mean, so I became a massage therapist 16 years ago. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
What year is that?
2008.
Yep, I was at TNA Wrestling at the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2008, back when I rented a broom closet at Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Yeah. Oh my
I
gosh.
could only fit, right?
Barely. I know. It was so bad, and it was leading down to the men's locker room, so people would walk by and like hawk loogies and stuff.
That's true. It's not exaggerating.
No. It was bad, but somehow, I actually still have clients with me to this day. So thank you. Shout out to you and to all of them who followed along with me on that journey. And now heel we are. So
heel we are. Jeez.
Killing you with them.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that really has been, a big part of my journey. And that's crazy. You've got to pretty much witness that from the beginning.
That is crazy. It's impressive to watch your metamorphosis of where you first started, and now what you're doing is so much bigger than just the physical side of helping aid people that have their various, like my lower back problems I had through my pro wrestling career. I ended up getting surgery for it finally last year, but I credit you for the years of getting me through another year's worth of wrestling, 250 dates a year for all those years. I did it for 13 years.
Yeah.
So you're a big help from, I'd say, 2008 through 2014 before I retired finally. And that's just one story of the hundreds of people you've probably helped put back together again. But now you've been able to take that and then get in the whole mental side of it, the spiritual side of it as well, of healing people. And you should be very proud of it because you turned it into not just a business, but a brand. I'm very, very, very proud of you.
Well, thank you, Matt.
Seriously.
I appreciate that. And it's, because people like you who have believed in the work that I've done and always have let me know the benefits that it has. So that always encourages and inspires me to keep going and keep growing, which I'm sure that feeling as well, too, because you share so much of your story with others, and I know that inspires them so much. So I'm glad to have you here on the show to share and inspire our listeners. And for those who don't know, he's about to dive into what the heel has gone on in his world.
So what the heel is going on in my world, I don't think I told you. I mean, you know this about me. I'm an 18-and-a-half-year recovered opioid addict, severely addicted to painkillers early on in my wrestling career. As many people already know, and I don't say this to blame things on doctors. You have to own being an addict yourself, obviously. But 80% of opioid addiction starts with a prescription pad. And so now I try to tell my story. I go into prisons, I go into kids' schools, and share with them my testimony, how I overcame my drug addiction. And I try to hopefully prevent them from making the same mistake. For me, it started with painkillers. I'd overdosed 7 times, not on purpose, but because of taking too many. And beyond blessed and lucky to even still be here. I mean, I overdosed at a time when they didn't have Narcan out in the street like we do today. Thank God. You can't have enough Narcan out there, in my opinion. And now our sheriff in Seminole County a few years back appointed me to our Seminole County Opioid Council. So we help make different decisions, hopefully, and ideas to legislators here in the state of Florida on things that can help benefit addicts out there and preventative measures I'll give you an example of one. One was that nowadays doctors have to, if they're going to prescribe a painkiller, they have to offer a non-addictive alternative. They have to verbally say it to the client or the patient, and they have to also have a signed sheet of paper showing, again, the patient there's a non-habit forming version of this if you would like to take that.
That's amazing.
We really help make that into an actual state law here in Florida. So I'm proud of the work we do with that council, amongst other things we do about being in the community and, again, talking to our kids and everybody of all different shapes, sizes, makes, and models, because it's an equal opportunity ass kicker at the end of the day. It doesn't discriminate on who it's going to kill.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 1,000%. And that's part of the reason massage was so important for you at the time, because you were
sober.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you
Very true.
needed to be not turning to, you were like, wrestling is really hard on your body.
And an easy rationalization to say, I'm having back spasms. I have no L5-S1 anymore. The L5 is completely blown to smithereens per any MRI you would ever see. So what an easy explain away to go, I'll just take a couple painkillers. No. Yeah. So luckily, I did have you to be able to alleviate that pain, at least make it more manageable and not have to turn down that dark road again.
Yeah, because it's really easy to do. I was actually sharing recently how a lot of times parents' medicine cabinets are kids' first drug dealers.
Oh, God, yes.
They don't even
True.
realize it.
Very true.
Yeah, and that's why I think that initiative, right, that you just spoke on is so important to get other alternatives out there.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's a necessity, there's no way to get around it, you can't find other natural ways to alleviate that pain, then then you have to have at least a non-addictive pill version if you have to go down the pill route.
Yeah, I think that's important, because back where I'm from in Michigan, right outside of Detroit, and so I graduated in 2006, right before I moved here, and we were in the middle of the pill epidemic at that time. Like, it was...
That's right when I got my sobriety.
Yeah.
But that was in the heat, absolutely.
It was the heat. There, so many people were just giving prescriptions, taking prescriptions. Yep. I remember being in middle school, friends would just bring their prescriptions that they found in their we didn't even know what the heck they were. And we're like, like, let's take these and dive in.
Yep, and guess what it would do? I had friends that would just guess the uppers and downers mixed together, which I never understood the point of that.
Yeah.
There was partying with it instead of, I treated it like it was my oxygen. Like I had to have it every 4 hours around the clock. I never missed a dose of anywhere from 100 to 120 milligrams of that stuff every 4 hours. That's a lot. It's easily enough to kill a horse, and just beyond lucky to still even be here, really.
Yeah, and when you were in that, could you even feel like you were in that? Did you see that there was another side?
No, because it makes you feel like Superman. It gives you this ephedrine rush times 1,000. If you're an addict, the way our brain responds to it is very different than how the normal person would respond to it. Normal person that takes that kind of dosage would feel very lethargic and tired, sleepy, maybe even nauseous to a degree. Addicts, it creates like this ephedrine rush, this cocaine high, that this speed type of high that you're sitting there. I mean, I'd lift weights for like 4 hours a night. I'd be vacuuming my apartment at 2:30 in the morning. I'd be doing the bizarre stuff just because I had all this energy. Yeah. And I'd sleep maybe 2 hours. Yeah, it was bad. But so it just became a thing where you can't do anything without it eventually. Like I said, it becomes your oxygen. Yeah. And you just do it so you can maintain your day. You can go to work. You can do all the different things. So I was a functioning addict, which made it harder to beat because of that. I attributed all my success to these pills as far as being a wrestler was concerned. So it was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was easy to get. And again, I don't blame the doctors. I manipulated the system. I know I had a screwed up L5 that everybody and their mother could see was messed up on an MRI. You didn't have to be a brain surgeon to see it. So I'd automatically get 180 full-strength Percocets or Loracets or Loratabs and Norcos, I think they were called, full strength. And I doctor shopped, which is obviously illegal, but I did. I admit to that too. I would go to different doctors, and I wouldn't use my insurance, so they wouldn't be able to tell that, well, Matt, you just went down the street 2 hours ago and got 180 from this doctor and then from this doctor. So I had like 3 different doctors each month I would do this with, and each of them would give me 180 full strength. Wow. And someone I'd sign an autograph for, I'd bring a autographed action figure for one of their kids or something like that, and they just give it to me and let me go. And that's not on them. That's, again, me manipulating the scenario.
Yeah. And that's big, important accountability to take.
To get what I wanted, yeah. To get my stuff, to get my fix.
Yeah.
And back then, the pharmacies weren't under the same scrutiny that they are today, thank God. They didn't have this computer system all set up together where I can go to a mom and pop pharmacy in downtown Orlando that wasn't hooked up to the system, right? So they can give me my 180 Percocets prescription filled, and I can go to a different different pharmacy, and then go to another one. They weren't all under the same system that they are today. Today, they all, like, you'll get flagged immediately if you're taking too much of this stuff or you have more than one prescription for the same drug and things like that. So whether it's Walgreens or a Publix or even mom and pop pharmacies now, they're all under the same, I forget what it's called, but the same computerized system where now it will catch it. Even if somebody's not using their insurance, it will catch the person trying to do that, which is good. Yeah.
Yes. There's certain parameters that I'm like,
you need to have them.
They're good. You know, that we actually have these things out there, like red light cameras. I'm like, what's wrong with red light cameras?
Yeah, really. It's just going to make more people safe, you figured. But then other people see it as a way, red light cameras just a way for you to not raise taxes as an elected official and still make another tertiary revenue expense for your city, for your community, or whoever's making that money off of those red light cameras. But in reality, you're right. It is ultimately making the world safer. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, there's
a lot of people think it's like, oh, it's so invasive and it's like spy tech and da. Like, no, it's just trying to make it safer, but whatever.
Yeah. We want to live in that space. And sometimes we don't realize, again, like you've said, it's not like the doctors are the bad guys, right?
No, and that's what it does suck about this is most tales you'll hear about, the way I just like mine, that will generally always blame it on, even law enforcement to a degree, will blame it on the prescription component of this. Doctors were not being judged enough on how many they were writing per month, and now that's a thing, thank God. It's not because they're necessarily the bad guy. I just think it was a lazy way to do business. And also make somebody feel better that's in a lot of pain. Yeah. Because they were put here for a reason. Painkillers were put here to help people.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody has cancer, somebody has something very serious. They really need these things, right? But leave it to an addict to ruin it and abuse it. And so I always think it's on us, because if it wasn't this, it'd be something else.
Of course. Yeah, that's the thing with addiction. Yeah. And that's, I think, a very important piece to touch on is a lot of times it's not even the substance itself. Like addiction is you're addicted to being addicted. So what am I going to take this and replace that with? Yeah,
there's an obsessive compulsiveness to it as well.
Yeah.
No question. At least my opinion of that.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of finding something that you're passionate about and that you could hopefully replace it with. You do have to replace it with something though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's filling that space. And not getting obsessive. I know when I first came off of my substance abuse journey and yoga, so right, and there was like this period where I'm like doing yoga, and this is when I had that thought where I'm like, oh shoot, it's not the act of like being like addiction is just like this action. I went to get my wet clothes out of the wash machine to go to yoga because I'm like, I gotta go and I gotta get my yoga and I gotta get it, and then I literally was about to put wet clothes on to go to yoga.
Oh wow.
And that's when I shut the washing machine and went and sat my ass down on the couch and went, hang on here. I'm taking something that's supposed to be healthy, and I'm actually to put wet clothes on is really, really unhealthy. And that caused me to look at my mind and bring a little bit more awareness. I'm like, this feels addictive at this point in time.
It's as the old saying goes, that too much of anything is not a good thing. Even the things that we view as positive. They say to do everything in moderation, even things that you could be very successful at.
Yeah.
Same things with those. So you don't get burnout from those things that maybe you are successful at, right?
Yeah.
To try to keep everything in proper perspective and proper balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Balance is huge.
It's easier said than done, though. Easier said than done.
Exactly. That's a lifelong lesson
it really is.
To be learning into. Because it's like, you feel like you're in the right spot, and then it's like, oh, shoot. hang on.
Yep.
I'm doing way too much of that. I felt balanced.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like that with my city job, right? As far as being elected, I'm OCD beyond OCD with that job. I like it. I like it's self-serving in a way because I like that pat on the back. I like that. Thanks for helping me, Matt. As corny as that sounds, like that's my paycheck. That's that high I chase.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
That validation.
Yeah. It feels good in that sense.
It does. You love helping people, and it becomes addictive in its own right. It really does.
Yeah.
And you want to be the one that they reach out to for everything. Because everyone's like, don't you get annoyed? I'm like, no, I want that. I'm greedy with that. I want to be able to help everybody. I want them to always know they can call me. I'm always going to answer. I'm always going to help.
I think
Yeah.
that really is one of the most, I think, amazing qualities of you as well.
But that's
too, though, your heart being so big. But
it's an example of that OCD.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? A little bit.
Recognizing,
Yeah.
Hang on. Maybe I could tell you later.
Yeah. I'm horrible with it.
Yeah. You're like, need me now? Be right there.
Yes. Seriously, yeah.
But where can we find those spaces to say, maybe next week?
Yeah.
Learning to recognize. It's a hard thing to come to.
Yeah. But again, it's like I was telling you earlier about replacing that addiction. You have to replace it with something else you're passionate about. And for me, I'm not going to say I've fully replaced my drug addiction, obviously being an elected official because I've been sober since 2006. Right? And I got elected my first year in 2016. Right? So that's a decade. So what did I replace it with? I replaced it with the gym. I replaced it with reading. I replaced it with being a better husband, being more present with my wife. I replaced it with lots of different things. The weirdest one, though, was definitely reading. Because I started, I'm not joking, I was on the road wrestling still in my second year of sobriety, and I went back to being full-time on the road wrestling. I first took a year off to make sure I could be sober and be strong enough sober without being an ability to relapse around my other addicts in the locker room. So before I went back, I had to make sure I was good for about a year. Then I went back full-time. And so I'm on the road, I'm on these airplanes flying all over the place. I started reading these novels to kill that time because that would be a time I would use on those planes.
Yeah.
I would take a downer so I can pass out and fall asleep. But that was another thing I was addicted to. I'd get off that too, right? So I started weirdly reading these like novels, and I polished 2 a week.
Wow.
I swear to God. Again, that OCD-ness component, there's something there. And again, if you like something, you got to find out what that something is to replace that addiction with. But at the beginning, it was definitely me reading is what got, because you're in your head. Yeah. Worst place you can be as an addict is by yourself in your head. That's the worst place you can be because that's where it's in the back of your head at all times, that addiction. Mm-hmm. It's just waiting to come to the front of your head. And it sneaks right up on you, and that beast is out and about, and it's going to bite you. So you have to always keep it back there, and doing so is keeping your mind busy, right? So reading was a big thing for me. So I read all these like novels, these murder whodunit mystery model novels. So like Stuart Wood's books, I got really into. Janet Ivanovich, got really into her books. All these cool like series, really, really into the Alex Cross, novel. That was a great, great series. But got out of left field.
You're like,
and my other colleagues,
Yeah.
Seriously, my other rest like, what do you do, Morgan? What? Like walking by me in the locker room, seeing me read, or up in the bleachers, laying down, reading when they're going over their
Were
matches.
you ever reading at red lights?
No.
That's when I knew I had a problem with reading. I'm like at red lights starting to drive. Put the book down, Maria.
No. What is your fascination with red lights? What is your fascination with stoplights?
They're really long in Florida, so you get a lot of time there.
They are obnoxiously long here. They definitely are that. I agree with that.
It's like, they're like 5 minutes, seriously.
Oh, they're the worst.
Some of the lights, so you got a lot of time to kill. So I could be like, oh, and then you get into the chapter, and then I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm driving and I'm reading. And
she's joking. That's not something she really does.
I have Audible now. Oh, no, that's so important, though. Filling that time, filling your mind wisely. Yeah. When you're going through that.
Definitely, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
Now it's obviously it's not even an afterthought, or even a thought rather of maybe do I want to use. I had back surgery right last year. Refused to touch anything while I was in that hospital, not because I wasn't ready, but because I want to be honest when I go into these kids' schools and I could tell them the truth. Nothing has made me, even back surgery, have I taken a single solitary painkiller since 2006. So that's a little arrogant, and there's definitely some ego in that. I'd be wanting to be able to say I've never touched it, but realistically, I should have. It's 18 years of sobriety. I had back surgery. It was a crap load of pain coming out of it. I should have in retrospect, but I mean, there's that competitiveness to it too, where I started to treat my addiction like a sport.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to go outpatient. Once I got out of detox, I did intensive outpatient care. And then you're supposed to do 90 meetings of Narcotics Anonymous, in 90 days. I did 180 meetings in 90 days. Yeah. And then I had my 3 times a week meeting with my addiction specialist for outpatient. Anyways, he told me once that he's like, look, if you relapse, it's not the end of the world. It happens to everybody. And it's just part of your story, and we'll get you right back on the wagon again. No big deal. And I'm like, why? Why would you tell me that? I go, you're giving me rationalization now. Why, Doc? Why would you tell me that? And then I got mad. And then the next day I came back in. And I'm like, you know what? I'm actually glad you told me that, because now I'm going to be your first addict that's never relapsed. And I got really pissy with it, like really like competitive with it. And I was like, I'm going to prove this guy wrong. Even though he wasn't like, hey, Matt, everybody on the planet relapses, but he made me feel that way.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got really competitive with it. I'm like, I'm going to be his first client that's never relapsed then. And I was. Yeah.
Wow. That's a high five. That's a big, that's a big test to your testament.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, that's a lot to go through and to share on, and to be on the other side and to share your story. I think, to me, most importantly, with kids, because I saw that side, where kids started taking pills in middle school, and somebody recently shared with me that, and she's older than me. I think she's in her 50s, and she told me that she had 17 people from her class pass away, which made me go, huh? And I counted, and I had 17 friends that I went to high school with who all passed away from drug addictions. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the hardest things. And I know that, for them, it started many with the medicine cabinet. So for you to be going in and sharing your story and in those places and touching whoever you can with your message is really important work. So
thank you.
Thank you.
I love doing it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And is there anything that you want to leave the listeners with? Any last message, any words of advice?
No, just that we only get one time around the sun, right? We only get one trip in this thing we call life. So, not to sound like a cornball, but there's so many things you can do. You just heard I was a former professional wrestler, a former American Gladiator. I'm mayor of a city. You really thought I thought that was on the table one day, to be a mayor? You got to be kidding me. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna go from body slamming somebody in the ring in my underwear to somehow being a leader of a city? No, that was not in the cards for me. Trust me. My point is, you don't know what's out there for you. You don't know what doors of opportunities are out there for you, especially if you're using, if you're drinking or you're drugging or any type of addiction that's making you not fully aware and observant. You'll miss tons of opportunities out there for you. All that stuff happened for me when I got clean, ironically enough. I also became a father, the most important of those things I just mentioned, to a beautiful little 12-year-old nonverbal autistic son named Jackson. Yes. He's magical. We're blessed Lord blessed us with him and then some. And so all that, none of that happens if I'm not clean, if I'm not sober, and to be aware for these doors of opportunity, I call them. So whoever which are watching this right now, I promise you there is a plethora of doors of opportunities in front of you right now. You just need to be aware of them and continue to meet as many different people as you can. Increase your circle of friends, if you will, or in contacts, because there's going to be somebody that's going to be able to do something for you in life one day, or maybe put something in your head that you never even fathomed that you'd be doing with your life one day. Because I assure you, being an elected official was not on my bucket list. Was not. You could have given me a million guesses of what I was going to do with my life after I retired from pro wrestling. This would not have been it. So that's the point. I'm very passionate about it. I love it. And that's the point of what I'm trying to say is there's going to be something out there for every single one of you. That's going to be something you're going to be passionate about that you don't see right now. But it's going to be out there, and your job is to get there. And the only way to get there is continue to do good towards others and try to make the world the best place you can along the way.
What a gift. That's amazing.
I mean, I believe that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many potentials and possibilities,
Yeah.
and sometimes we've got to close one door so that we can
Yes.
go in and
That's a great point, because I remember when I retired from wrestling, I was like, what's my identity going to be? I
Yeah.
was so soaked up with that identity. And people will still, I'm 7 feet tall, so people still recognize me from pro wrestling. So, and being on television for 13 years, okay, so that part's cool, but I'm not doing it anymore. So, like, what's my identity going to be? Well, that didn't last very long. It really didn't, because I retired at the right time. I became a dad. And that's all I was obsessed about being, was a father. And that's what eventually led me down that pathway to become an elected official once I became a dad.
Yeah.
But that's definitely a different story for a different day.
What an amazing journey that you've been on, and I'm so grateful to have got to witness this much of it, and I just can't wait to continue to see the different ways that you grow and share your message and inspire those around you.
Same with you, and same goes for you. I'm immensely proud of you. Seriously.
I appreciate that.
Keep it up.
Thank you so much. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. I hope that this story resonated with you. And for those who it really did touch, please go out there and see. There are doors open for you. Go tap into what it is that makes you feel alive. Because a lot of times being caught in the addiction, that's not what makes you feel alive. So tap into what that is. And there's so much possibility. The world is your possibility. Go explore, friends.